Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times together. Today, as you can see by the title, I'm here to talk to you about all of the books that I read in the month of May.
It's coffee time!
Now, May was a really bad reading month for me. I don't know what's going on. I think it's just because I'm really busy with a lot of things that I'm trying to get done, that I'm trying to do, and I don't find myself having as much extra time for reading. And whenever I sit down to read, I do it for very short periods of time. So actually, June is starting a lot better already, but in the month of May at least I still read 9 things. So I am here to talk to you about those 9 things that I did get to read in the month of May. Now, before we jump to the list, if you're new here, you love books and you love horror, please do consider subscribing and joining the coffee family before you leave, and also hit the notification bell. As always in this channel, we rate books with coffee mugs, and I always start with the lowest rating and end up always on a positive note. So sadly, here at the very bottom of the month of May, I have a book that is actually popular. A lot of people do love this book, so I'm sorry if you love this, but I have to put here for me at the bottom The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I listened to this one on audiobook, and if I'm honest with you guys, if I would have had to read this book in physical form, I would have 100% DNF'd it. I thought I was gonna really enjoy it because it is based on a murder mystery that happens on a wedding in an isolated island, and it is being told through multiple perspectives, so everything sounded like a book that I would enjoy. However, I had the feeling that mostly nothing happened for the majority of the book, and I lost interest in the mystery. I didn't even care anymore who died and why. And that's not good when you're reading a mystery thriller. You're supposed to be engaged to the very end. I don't know. I did like how the book was written. I did enjoy that we got the story told from different perspectives, and we also jump back and forth to the past and the present. However, like I said, I was not engaged. We got to a point where I just didn't care anymore. Then I also read The Disenchantments by Novella. I chose this one as my non-horror read of the month, and it is because I did enjoy other books by Novella like We Are Okay and Hold Still. However, this one, even though it is a really heartwarming coming-of-age story with a fun road trip, it didn't have as much impact for me. It lacked a little bit of power and grief and everything that I expect from a book from Novella. It is beautifully written, and we do get a bunch of different characters, and it is easy to read. I flew through it. I read it in 1-2 days, but I was missing something here. It felt like the book was about to take off and then it just stopped. And I would have loved to see these characters actually travel more and achieve a lot of things that they wanted to do. I just felt like this book was like half baked for me. However, this is such a great coming of age road trip story. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna love it. It was just maybe not for me. I still give it 3 because, as I mentioned, the characters, the writing, everything is nice. It's just, it didn't have the same impact as other books by the author. Another disappointment for me was Immunity by Erin Bowman. After reading Contagion, I really enjoyed it because it felt to me a little bit like a YA softer version of The Thing, something like that. We have these group of people that are traveling on a spaceship, and they receive these distress call from a planet, and they decide to go and help the people there. But when they get to this planet, it's very hostile and they don't seem to find any survivors. Something has happened in this planet, some kind of virus got loose, and I actually really enjoyed the first book. I thought it was a great sci-fi horror for YA, you know, for a YA book, and I was really excited to read the second book called Immunity. And I think part of why maybe this one didn't work so well for me, it's because we get a lot more of the YA tropes in this book. And this is not a spoiler, but basically this whole book is mostly based on a spaceship. We don't really get to visit planets, and we don't have these fear of the virus and people getting infected, and all of that is gone. And then I feel like that was the biggest disappointment for me. I mean, it's still nicely written and you do get to see some of the characters from the first book, but it was not exactly what I expected. Then we have The Redwood Asylum by L.A. Detweiler, and this is a book that had also all the elements for me to love it. We are in an asylum that is very isolated, and it is well known because it's been open for 200 years. And a lot of people, you know, used these places, especially in the past, to just lock up their kids or family members where then didn't want to deal with them. And it's a really scary thought. As long as you had money, you just threw it there, and they would keep your loved ones there for you so that they wouldn't bother you on your life. In this story, we follow Jessica. She is a young woman that decides to take a job in this asylum as a nurse because she just wants to escape her own world, her own reality, her own past, and she just wants a fresh start. So she thinks this is going to be the perfect place, isolated, and she's going to be able to, you know, start new, start fresh. And when she gets this asylum and she gets introduced to the work, to the patients, she starts to realize that there is something really wrong in this place, and she starts to try to investigate these patients and their past, and then it's really gonna get her in trouble. One of the things that I would criticize about this book that I didn't enjoy so much is that you don't really get to see those apparently really messed up procedures that are done on the patients. You don't really get to see who are there, the main doctors. You basically only know the nurses and the people that are, you know, cleaning the patients and things like that. And I felt like it would have added a lot more of horror if we would have seen some of the practices done on these patients, and we would have experienced exactly what the doctors do with them. I just felt like that was missing for me. Then I read a novella called The Last Night of October by Greg Chapman, and I was really excited about this one because the setting is on Halloween night, so what's not to love about that? And we follow a guy that is already 70 years old, and he doesn't want anything to do with Halloween. Every year for Halloween, he locks himself up in his house, he closes windows, doors, he never answers the door, and he just, you know, tries to avoid that night altogether. However, this year is going to be different. He gets a new nurse that goes to change his bottle because he has problems with his breathing. And the nurse makes a mistake to let something into the house, something dark, something twisted that our poor old man had been avoided for years. Even though it started really strong for me and I was really loving it, I just felt like it was really predictable. It was really easy for me to tell what was gonna happen, the twist, like you could see it coming. However, it is a really nice, well-written, dark story. It is perfect if you're looking for a short read for Halloween night. Moving on to My Sister, the Serial Killer. This had been on my radar for a long time and I finally got it and read it, and I can tell you that I did enjoy it. It was a fun, fast-paced thriller, and it is a very different type of thriller, which I really appreciated because it did bring something fresh to the table. One of my favorite things about this book was the Nigerian setting and how we got to learn so much about the culture through, you know, the sisters. We follow two sisters here, and they could not be more different from each other, but it doesn't matter if they get on well with each other or not. They're always going to have each other's backs. So Coretta works as a nurse in a hospital, and she gets one day the call from her sister to help her clean a murder scene. And Coretta goes and helps her because it is her sister in the end. It is a very dark and twisted story, and I did love a lot the relationship between the two sisters. The chapters are very short and the story is being told from the sisters' perspective, and I love to see, you know, the unity of the family. I was kind of, I guess, hoping to have a little bit more of a mystery thriller to have like a really big punch, like a really big twist that you don't really get from the book. But it is also kind of addictive in a way, and I could not put it down. So if you're looking for a thriller that is really dark and it's different, I do recommend you to pick it up. Also, the chapters are super fast to read. They are very short, so you're gonna read it in like one sitting. Then we have Goblin by Josh Malerman. I do have a reading vlog for this one. These are 6 novellas that are all novellas that take place in a place called Goblin, and in this place mostly it rains and it is foggy outside, and there's a lot of dark secrets are being kept by the people that live in this place. Now, this book started extremely strong for me. I love the intro, I love the first novella. It was really dark and twisted. However, the other novellas had endings that kind of fell flat for me. They didn't have the same impact, and I started to feel a little bit sad about that, because I do enjoy the stories. I do love the writing and how Josh Malerman creates these characters, and I still really enjoyed this book. I just hoped that the ending of those other 5 novellas would have had a bigger impact in my case. Maybe some people read this book and they absolutely love the ending of all of the novellas. Maybe it was just not for me. But even though I did not enjoy the ending of some of the novellas, I still really enjoyed reading those stories. I was still really engaged. I wanted to know what was happening with those characters. It's just the ending of the novellas, they just didn't land. But that might be just my taste. I still gave this book 4 because I love the way that Josh Malerman writes his characters. I love the stories, and I just enjoy it overall. If you want to hear a bit more in-depth thoughts on all the different novellas and all of that, check out the vlog, and it is spoiler free, but I do give you more information of every single one of the novellas. Our next book is For Rye, and I do also have a reading vlog for this one with a bit more in-depth information. I was really excited about this book because it is a horror debut novel, and this is psychological horror thriller, and it combines different things that I really enjoy. I do put now the trigger warnings in the description box down below, but there is a trigger warning that it's legit on page 2, so I'm gonna tell you about it because it's something that you're gonna be confronted from the very beginning. So in this story we follow Renata, and this is a woman that is on the verge. She is considering suicide, and that's how we first meet her. However, before she can really go through with that, she receives a call that her mother has been murdered. So she decides to travel back to her hometown to see what happened to her mom, since apparently her murder was more than that. She was murdered in a ritualistic murder inside of a church, and Renata wants to know why. So together with a detective on the case and a horror writer that is also gonna assist with the investigation, Renata wants to know what happened to her mom. However, returning to her hometown also means for her getting flashbacks of things that happened to her in her childhood. This story is told from the present point of view of Renata, as well as chapters that are complete flashbacks. I appreciated that the chapters that are flashbacks are written in italics, so you know automatically that you're about to read a piece of information from Renata's childhood that is going to help you understand her story. If I would have to criticize something in this book at all, it would be that there is a lot of things going on, a lot of different topics and mysteries, and maybe we could have used one less. However, this is such a strong debut novel. I'm really excited to see what the author is going to do next. And the winner of the month of May is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. For me, this is one of the best new voices in the horror genre. I absolutely love his writing. He has such a talent, and I'm here for anything he's about to put out. This is his newest novella, and this is one that is gonna keep you at the edge of your seat. You're not going to be able to put this down. We follow two women that met in a chat in the early 2000s, and there is a lot of messed up things that we're going to discover about these two main characters. This is a book that focuses on the fears of real life. You know, what if you met a stranger online and you trusted them, but you don't really know who they are, what they've done, what they are able to do. It's just so amazing. It is really disturbing. Loved it. It is weird. It might not be for everybody, but honestly, give it a try. And yeah, absolutely love it. When I sat down to read this novella, I was not expecting to read it in one go, but I could not stop reading. I just couldn't. It was impossible for me to put it down, and it was so unexpected. It was so disturbing. I'm still thinking about it, honestly. Like, this is probably one of the best novellas I've ever read, and from everything that I have read by Eric LaRocca so far, this is my favorite thing. Also, that cover, beautiful, amazing. Please get yourselves a copy of this. Alright guys, so this is everything that I read in the month of May. Let me know down below your thoughts on these books if you've also read them. Let me know down below what is the best thing you read in the month of May. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Please give the video a big thumbs up for support, and I hope to see you all guys as always in our next coffee time. Bye.